I feel like I breathe okay. Obviously, I wouldn't know, but I feel like I can breathe out of my nose. But for
Yeah,
exercise,
yeah.
I do mouth breathing. That's it.
I don't love to hear that.
Yeah, if it gets really intense cardio, like sprinting type, I have to mouth breathe after a while.
Sure. I think if you're just training though, like unless it's competitive basketball or something where you don't really can't really control your pace, I would say even when you're sprinting, try to breathe through your nose because that's actually the highest value mewing that you can do is nose breathing while sprinting. That shit
Mm,
really opens you up
okay.
and gets your airways to adapt in a super positive way.
Yeah.
Because if you can nasal breathe while sprinting, you can nasal breathe while doing anything because sprinting is the hardest thing you can do.
Right, right. Yeah, I noticed I dance, so it's not really sprinting, but in a way it kind of is because you're going all out for, 30 seconds to 2 minutes. So if I'm aware of it, I can sometimes nasal breathe, but if it gets really, really intense, I drop into mouth breathing. I noticed that.
For sure. Yeah, and that's a
Mhm.
universal experience. The same happens for me and for anyone.
Yeah.
It just I guess what I'm saying is a lot of people say it's okay to breathe through your mouth when you're sprinting, and I would say it's okay as an absolute last resort. But
Right.
it's worth trying to nasal breathe during anything, no matter
Right.
how intense it is.
And
I advocate exercising within your breath, which is to
mhm.
say at a pace where you can continue to nasal breathe.
Mhm. And that makes sense. Like when I practice, I can definitely do that. But sometimes if I'm performing, I'll notice afterwards I'm like or something.
Mm.
Mhm.
Question for you: do you think dancing is a good thing for young women to do to like grow up with better posture?
Yes, 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 because I didn't get into dancing until my late teens, so my posture isn't the best, but I kind of feel like I was in ballet and then I don't know, I cried one day and they took me out. I would almost suggest forcing all girls to do ballet because ballet, I just love it. It's so good. Like when you adopt the ballet posture, it feels so good in your body. And you can see girls that are trained dancers, even if they don't pursue that professionally or if they drop it altogether, they have that physical awareness and posture for the rest of their life that's preventing further issues. And it's also giving them a base. It could also be gymnastics. I've seen a lot of people do gymnastics, even as far as people doing color guard, which I wasn't familiar with, but they end up developing really good posture, really good physical awareness. And just posture and physical awareness, it's like the name of the game. Because before that, I was just like a mouth breathing computer nerd. And then I got
A
into
normie.
dancing. Yeah, and it really, really helped me. So, yeah, I wish they should be teaching that in school.
Why does that happen? Does the instructor constantly like scold you for having poor posture, or does the training just
So the
naturally
training
give rise to it?
Yeah, so the training is being in perfect posture because they're making you aware of your anterior pelvic tilt. Like the whole time they're like, okay, tuck your butt in, like suck your stomach in, put your shoulders back. And if you have a really good teacher, they'll keep reminding you of that. So you're spending 1 hour basically in the most perfect posture that you can manage, and you're
Wow.
developing flexibility and strength within that posture. Even like when I do it, it's not comparable to weight training, but you will develop muscles and strength, and it's really good. Like it's very underrated.
For sure. And when you
Hmm.
say that they teach you to engage your core, tuck your
Yeah.
butt, are you actually kind of like squeezing your glutes a little bit when you do that as a way of giving integrity to that posture? And
Right.
does that lift your arches and make your feet stronger
Yeah.
too?
So
How
yeah.
how would you coach someone into that position?
Right. Usually I just say kind of like I don't know what's allowed on YouTube, but kind of like pop your p word forward, like that kind of helps. I think of it more like putting the pelvis forward, which naturally you're going to tighten your butt. But if you just tighten your butt, you might not actually be pushing that pelvis forward. You know what I mean?
Yeah, could I entice you to demonstrate? Like just show people what you mean? Cuz
Um
I think this is honestly the most controversial thing, and when it comes to posture, no one knows what to do with their pelvis. They're like, do I stick my butt out? Do I
No.
tuck it in? Do I squeeze my glutes? What am I
Yeah.
doing?
Okay.
So I, for example, I would
Mhm.
go like this. This is what I do. I, instead of being like this,
Yeah.
I would actually like squeeze my butt a little bit, right? And
Yeah.
then tuck my pelvis a little bit, kind of like.
Yeah.
So this is like normie posture,
Right. Awful. Yeah.
and then this is where like I like to be.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
like squeezed butt,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
engaged core,
Yeah.
and then my arches are lifted. I
Yeah.
used to do this. I used to like stick my butt out,
Yeah. Don't do that.
but when you do that, you're not flexing your glutes, your core isn't
Yeah.
engaged. So I more like advocate squeezing the butt and tightening everything up.
Yeah.
But a lot of people like rag on me for my posture.
Oh. Yeah, I actually what I think about the reason why you want to push the pelvis forward and squeeze the butt is because you're trying to make a flat plane between your torso and your pelvis. You get what I mean? So if you're with your butt out, you're not going to make that flat plane. I actually had a friend who was having back pain, and she came to my house, and I said, "You're a freaking hunchback. Let me fix you." I pushed her butt in, put her shoulders back, and she was fixed. So these are things that, in a perfect society, these should be taught to children. These should be taught at school, and they're just not taught nowadays. And the lack of physical and postural awareness is an epidemic and a huge problem, and it's probably contributing to a lot of pain in our society. Yeah.
Oh, I couldn't agree more.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And I think the reason so many people end up with poor posture to begin with, like humans obviously aren't designed to have shit posture. Like it shouldn't be that hard that people just grow up with decent posture. I think the root cause of collapsed posture is bad facial structure.
Right. And
Because
oh,
once your face is wrecked, it's super hard to have good posture because, like it screws up your neck and then that flows downhill.
yeah.